Welcome, and this is a continuation from our previous module, because previous module we have discussed the elements of diffusion of innovation, and in this particular lecture we will try to see how innovation is diffused, which means the process of adoption. So, the process of adoption was first propounded by Rogers in 2003, and this depicts the innovation decision procedure as an information seeking and information processing activity, where an individual is motivated to reduce uncertainty about the advantages and disadvantages of innovation. Now, Rogers, he has said that the innovation decision process is actually comprises of 5 stages: knowledge, persuasion, decision, implementation and confirmation. So, these are the 5 stages: knowledge, persuasion, decision, implementation and confirmation. So, we will discuss one by one. To begin with, we will discuss the knowledge. So, the knowledge stage, the first stage of innovation decision process is actually this knowledge stage. So, in this stage, the consumers gradually learn about the occurrence of innovation and deliberately search more information from the environment, comprising reference groups, opinion leaders and several marketing stimuli. So, the information typically sought at this stage is about the nature of innovation, how to use it, the purpose of using it and how to acquire it. So, whenever a new product is coming in the market, the first thing the consumers will try to know that what is the nature. Like if Samsung is coming up with their water resistant phones, then what is the nature of it, what is the price of this product, how good it is than the other water resistant phones. What about this is saying that it is a low light photography would be better. So, are there any other phones which is also having this kind of feature? So, how is it? And it is about when you are launching about a new version of the product, but sometimes it may be that the product is totally new. For example, again I will come to this dishwasher. This is still a new concept to the Indian families. So, in this case, first I will try to see what is the nature, how to use it, how much of electricity it will consume, how much of water should I give, how much of soap should I use here, what are the different kind of utensils can I wash here. So, all this, how to use it, do I need to pour the soap in that and then pour water and then run that, or there is some other mechanism I should pour water and say particularly soap, is there any dispenser where I should store it earlier. So, how to use it, because it is a new product na? So, you have to say how to use it and what is the purpose, when do you use it, for regular use, or you are using it when there is a party in your house and there are too many utensils. So, you better use a dishwasher. So, what is the purpose of using it, that also you should know. And then how to acquire it, from where do I buy, do I buy it from online sources, do I buy it, should I go to the shop and buy it, do I want it from personal selling, I want the person, if the person comes and persuades me, then only I will buy it, how. So, this is this phase. So, according to Rogers, all these aspects constitute 3 major types of knowledge, namely awareness knowledge, how to knowledge and principles knowledge. So, awareness knowledge stands for the knowledge of innovation's occurrence. Ideally, this kind of knowledge may stimulate the customer to seek more information about the innovation, develop more knowledge about it. This is this phase. So, how to, what is the nature of innovation? Second phase is how to knowledge. So, this is 6 information about how to use it. So, Rogers he has said that this knowledge is very important parameter in the innovation decision process. To augment the possibility of the adoption of the innovation, the customer should have adequate level of how to knowledge before the trial of the innovation. Complex technical innovation, particularly for the aged person, when you are trying to sell a smartphone to an aged person. So, there how to use is important thing. Maybe he might have at that age he might have eyesight problem, his fingers might be feeble. So, the touch screen might be a problem for this person. So, I should know now how to use, and if the use part is a problem for that customer, he will never adopt it. So, this I have to check. Then principles knowledge. Principles knowledge encompasses the execution principles unfolding how and why an innovation has to be used. An innovation may be adopted without this knowledge. In that case, there remains a high chance of misuse of innovation. The misuse will bar the users to properly understand the convenience of the product uses and lead to its discontinuance. If you have if you are selling telling the aged person, for example, in one of the recent ads, we have seen that a young boy is trying to seeing that an old person is discussing that in his he does not know how to email and all this thing. So, he is facing a problem. So, he is saying that please use a smartphone, and it is easy actually to open up an email account and solve your purpose of using internet. So, this is how if you can unfold how to use and why this innovation is, why it is beneficial, if you can tell them, see if you can use your WhatsApp in which you can talk to your son who is staying in US. You can go for a video chat in a Facebook Messenger through this phone with your son who is staying in US. Then probably this person might be interested in it, and you have to make it simpler and make it convenient for him to use. Unless you make him sure about the purpose and you make it convenient for him to use, it is very difficult that the person will adopt it, and even if he buys it, it may lead to discontinuance and he may keep on using his own old mobile. The persuasion stage. The second step of diffusion of innovation is the persuasion stage. This step takes place when the individual has a strong negative or positive attitude towards the innovation. The formation of favorable or unfavorable attitude towards the innovation does not always lead directly or indirectly to the adoption or innovation always, but the individual shapes his or her attitude after he or she knows about the innovation. So, the persuasion stage follows the knowledge stage in the innovation decision process. Which means when a dishwasher is coming, I may think that my old maid system is fine enough, we are maybe just a one or two member family. So, I do not need a dishwasher, it is okay, maid can wash it. So, that may be acting as a barrier. So, I have to check this how to persuade this customer. So, maybe a message that where maid is absent might be used as a like emotional connect with the customer. Moreover, Rogers claims that unlike the cognitive centered knowledge, the persuasion stage is more of effective. That is what I wanted to say, that you can understand the emotional attachment of the customer towards a particular act or towards the use of a particular product, and try to connect that particular emotion with the purpose of using the product. In this phase, the consumer is more concerned about the degree of uncertainty of the performance of the new product, and what would be the social consequence, what would the neighbors think, what would the friends think. So, all this. So, the customers at this stage keep on searching information to evaluate the innovation and related promotional messages through decision stage. Therefore, marketer not only need to innovate in terms of products, but also require to think how to mix and match the effective combination of other marketing mix elements to persuade the customers to adopt a new product. I may like to buy a dishwasher, but at this moment I do not have enough money to buy it, and I am a middle class customer. So, can you give me in a EMI scheme? So, that can persuade me to buy the product. So, you have to understand that this is the pricing element, EMI. So, you can mix up the pricing element with your innovation, and then you can market it. The decision stage. At the third stage, of the innovation decision process is the decision stage, where the customer either adopts or rejects the innovation. While adoption means full use of innovation as the best course of action available, rejection refers not to adopt an innovation. So, according to Rogers, greater the chance of trialability of the product, higher is the probability that the product would get adopted. So, many of the marketers, particularly for the fast moving goods like biscuits or detergents or shampoos, they provide free gifts to the customers with some other products, so that the customer get accustomed to use this particular shampoo or this particular detergent. A pouch pack may be sachet as a free with another established product. So, by that the customer may form an habit of using it, and the trial might help adoptability of the product, and it may expedite the innovation adoption process also. But however, rejection can occur at any of the stages of the innovation decision process. Now, finally comes the implementation stage. At the implementation stage, an innovation is actually practiced. So, nevertheless, an innovation brings the novelty in which some degree of uncertainty is involved in diffusion. So, uncertainty about the results of the usage of innovation actually persists even in the implementation stage as a predicament. This results in the dependence on opinion leaders to understand the technical features of the product properly, and thereby reducing the risk of the consequence. See, you may the father may not like to buy a smartphone, but the son may motivate the father to buy a smartphone by educating him the usage of it. So, in this case the son may act as the opinion leader. So, an ad may focus a son gifting that particular smartphone to his father, because he is staying at a distance with his father. So, this is where the barriers could be removed, but once the innovators accept the product, the novelty of innovation gradually reduces. At this point, many other competing brands enter the market, and the product moves from the growth to maturity phase. So, reinvention also takes place normally at the implementation stage only, because product reaches to the maturity stage. So, at this moment your R&D has to be strong, and you should come up with another innovation or a new version. So, otherwise so that your products still have some kind of distinction with the existing products in the market. So, Rogers has elucidated that the distinction between the concept of invention and innovation also. He says, invention is a process by which a new idea is discovered by brainstorming. This is an in-company process, whereas adoption of innovation refers to the process of using an existing idea. The product has already been developed. So, now how can you ensure that the customer will use it? Rogers also added that the more the reinvention happens, the more speedily an innovation is adopted and becomes a practice. For example, as innovators of computers, cell phones are the as innovations, computers, cell phones are the gadgets with the possibility of multifaceted value added uses, and thereby more open to reinvention. That is what I said. The smartphones, any high tech product, you could intervene, you could actually reinvent it again and again. Is there Apple, Samsung, all this, then LG, even in the electronic world, LG, then Godrej, everybody is trying to innovate over one model to the other. So, one example I will try to say here, reinvention may occur in terms of process re-engineering also. In this context, one may recall the use of QR code cards, and this was a novel way to amplify sales. Cotton World, a leading apparel brand, they have adopted this method to develop customized interface with the younger generation. The popularity of these cards has reached to such height that Jet Airways used it in their in-flight magazines to facilitate the customers to download the flight information, sector details, and many other tits and bits. So, Kim Saldanha, Vice President Marketing Consumer in Centria, he has said that QR codes are turning out to be the perfect marketing package. In brief, compact message driver and engagement tool all loaded in a single code. And finally comes the confirmation stage. through the adoption decision, though the adoption decision has already been made in the previous stages, but the individual looks for information to sustain his decision. I may have bought one new brand of detergent, but I am not sure that the other new detergents are better than this or not. So, then at this stage, even if I have bought the product, I will try to collect more information about the products. So, as Rogers puts it, the decision can be upturned if the consumer is exposed to conflicting messages about the innovation, which means another this Note 7 case of Samsung. There were some messages like it can create different kind of problem. Tata Nano in its first batch, that the engine which is in the back side of the car has caught fire for the first batches, a few cars. So, that created a kind of panic amongst the customers. Second batch, they have modified the product and Nano is now running well. So, these are the things like conflicting messages or the better products from the other companies, because by that time your product is already innovated and customers have already, the early adopters have already adopted it. Many new companies, as because the product is now in the growth stage, many new companies will launch their own brands also, maybe with a better feature. So, at this stage there could be conflicting and there could be competitive messages also or comparative messages also from the competitors. So, at this stage because of conflicting messages, your decision can be upturned and in the later purchase you may switch on to your competing brand. So, this thing you should be cautious, marketer should be cautious about, so that the customer confirm about it. So, in short, these are the stages of diffusion of innovation. Thank you, and we will meet in the next session.